Okay. Here we are. Oh, there's so much to investigate here. That looks like... Oh! It's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine! Indeed, it would appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah! So you got it then? Gina! We're done. Well done for finding this place. And in such little time. You really worked miracles. It's Stubby, it's a miracle worker. Ah, I thought you lot would show up here before long. Are you imposing the power of the cat now? Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Well, thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I wouldn't want to say, go to Paris for a debt of gratitude unpaid now, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around in here, I'd get cracking. Lord Van Zeet and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got the picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Gregson, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. I hate that sprite so much. Right then, let's see what we can find in here. Gee, whatever to investigate. How about the arrows? This is... It's a European-style quiver of arrows! What's with steel bolts inside? Oh! Do you suppose... Crossbow bolts, these. And just the right size for the bow you lot turned up at the exhibition grounds. In other words... Yep, that's more evidence to support your theory. It all goes to show that Drebber was the one pulling the strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Alright, so we've updated the crossbow. I'm sorry, Mr. Nahodo. That machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it, from the Crown and the government. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts or devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change dropped on the floor, nothing. Not even a bone for Toby's ear, my dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideals, aren't they? I think that's just these two, Miss Susato. That's relatively fair. Okay, nothing for Gregson actually adds, so check this trophy here. Ah, this appears to be most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt that if you hit your shoulders a few times with that, your aches and pains will soon go away. Do you not know what a trophy is? It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah. Would you like a massage? No, not from you. No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. It's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Drebber than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruhodo? Would you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let that go, is he? It's curious, though, isn't it? You would expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. English gentlemen can be quite a mystery at times. Okay, so we have the Science Trophy now. A Royal Society trophy for excellence in science that was found in Mr. Drebber's workshop. It's a very prestigious award for a young scientist. Alright, more to examine. What on earth is this? It's an aeroplane, Mr. Naruhodo. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is, yes, but a real airplane would actually fly high in the sky. While suspended from somewhere even higher in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in midair and support it. So to you, the solution is ever taller towers. Yes. How about the door? This door doesn't want to open. Yeah, looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock on it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard. So hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission. And no one's given it to you. Now I feel bad. I wanted to have permission. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Drebber must have fled at the first sign of danger. Did he? Oh. Is something wrong, Mr. Zato? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it all. What'd you reckon, Toby? I want that dog. Right, mind the grease. Whoever's in there, open up! It's a Scotland Yard! Oh my! Someone is in there! Ah! This rotten bleeding luck! My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine. I'll take the rap for it. Just get us through that blasted door. There! You may enter at will. You've confused minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for, I suppose. This is an emergency. There is a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. Be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes. Let's go! We got the squad! What the... What's happening here? Why is everything upside down? Rats! There ain't no one left in here at all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of Drebber running away. But there's only one door into this room. And no windows that could afford an escape route. Those skylights are too high. What's that up there? Are those footprints on the ceiling? Blow me! What have we here then? I am not going to do that, Gregson. Looks like someone was trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? The Professor Harebrayne's blind bar machine, is it? Blimey! If we had these, there'd have been no need to muck about trying to investigate all that scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruhodo. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before the forensic investigation team arrive too. Alright, well, what to observe? How about the bomb? Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. It looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped up in a large watch. Ah! Mr. Sato, what's the matter? That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What? Did you say? A time bomb? Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? Eh? You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I won't take that as a compliment. Ha! You don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult the dictionary later, Mr. Naruhodo. But this particular specimen is no time bomb, though I confess it's a very similar appearance. Oh, well, thank goodness. But then, what is it? I see. So that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my lot most unfair. For I'm fated never to know how it feels to flounder as you do when a puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mr. Zato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from this scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Drebber himself. Oh, but how could you... And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is, without question, completely genuine. Please, Mr. Sholmes, you must explain everything. It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea anyway. Ha 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 ha! Oh, you deflected the Inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mr. Sholmes. Well done. You are too kind, my dear madam. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stand just there, Mrs. Sato. Oh, yes. I'd be delighted. So, shall we begin? Once again, Herlock Jones is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. I think we're gonna get two of these in one case. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table and chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had, until recently, been happily positioned from the ceiling, before falling straight down to the floor. Every item in this room was on the ceiling? Are you suggesting that... Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For the gravity in this room was reversed, and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Mr. Soto. I, too, was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to the one featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact. But then why does it have a clock on it? A most relevant question indeed. That is a timing device that controls when the gravity direction will switch. Now, it was clear the requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically. And the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the door was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of this anti-gravity device. So you see, we need look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction which gravity acts here was reversed by Mr. Drebber, before being restored to normality in automatic fashion sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. Okay, so Flipbird because gravity was reversed. In the late 1800s. No. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Of course, Drebber's aim was singular, to escape. However, there is but one way into this room, excepting the skylight, that is. Ah. By inverting the gravity in here, Drebber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape by the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If the gravity reversal was sudden, wouldn't Mr. Drebber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the sky was his only option. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope. To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Drebber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Escaped via the skylight. Yeah, it sounds reasonable, but that's not quite it. At least I don't think so. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? An anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis. But your whole deduction hinges on it! Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I heard ours come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling I've read something in that Mrs. Atto lent me once.
Objection!
Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Drebber had used it to escape in the way you described, wouldn't it still be tied to the wall? Mystery is inevitably unraveled in the end. I think you'll find new ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only look at the mystery face in this room, now skillfully unraveled. That argument is as circular as the coils of rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure with some minor corrections, the great detective's great deduction will lead us to the truth. Yes, you're right. We must do it quickly, before Enoch Drebber gets too far away. If you're ready, then let us resume. Herlock Sholmes' Logic and Reasoning Spectacular! It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. To the bed, the table, and the chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item in the room had until recently been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down to the floor. Every item in this room is on the ceiling. Are you suggesting that... Indeed, the key here is gravity. It would appear that technology has at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pull of the Earth. For gravity in this room was reversed, and then suddenly restored to normality. Goodness! The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part of gravity plays in this whole business. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room, I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could conceive of such an explanation. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... Yes, you're quite right. We must completely discount the idea at once. Oh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mrs. Atto. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Well, let's see if examining this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely reveals some proof that shows exactly what the gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. Take a look at this large safe. Ah, look, Mrs. Atto. When everything seems to be upside down in here, this safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed? Yes, that's true. But look more closely at the safe's feet. Ah, that's a lot of very large bolts fixed into the floor. Think before you speak. That's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there. I certainly didn't say that. Upright vase. Well, I was expecting to find a pretty bunch of flowers in here, that's for sure. Ah, look at that. I know, that slender little vase looks like it's about to topple any moment, but the flowers are thriving. Somehow it makes you think of the fragility of life, wouldn't you say? To be honest, Mr. Nanaho, though, something else about it made a rather deep impression on me. Yeah.
Take that!
There we go. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Nanaho, though, you've surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one is trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance that all the furniture in the room is upside down. The unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there is nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, it is, as much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all! My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mr. Sholmes. I hate it when Susato's crying. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Now that we know this contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite, and naturally there's an explanation. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of this anti-gravity device. He's absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't he? I'm afraid the lure of an exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over. So whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Look, there's something written on the other side of this armchair. Oh yes, safe 432582. Safe? As in safe and secure? As in secure lockable box, I think. Admittedly, more likely. Well, there is a large safe bolted to the floor on the other side of the room, so yes. So do you mean this number would let us open it? I wonder why it's written here, though.
Take that!
I believe this is what we're looking for. There we go. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you have had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year. When I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down to the inside cover of a book just in case. That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened next, Mr. Naruhodo? When the day of the draw came round, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and had to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it! For people are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they've noted things down. Not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I slipped it to get into, so I had to burn to... Oh, thank you, Mr. Naruto, but I believe I proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario had clearly unfolded in this room. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the document of this room needed the combination code. He remembered that he had written it on the other side of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one. Leading to the state in which we now find the room. Yes, Mr. Drebber overturned all the furniture in here. In a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. To find the safe combination. Let's do this. Now, let us consider the next conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question whose answer will lead us neatly to the truth, my dear madam. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby skylight. Well, if a change in the direction of gravity can't explain it, then how did those footprints get there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. I can't think of any other way to explain it at all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Ah! It's hard to believe, but there's a shoe up there. Look! Oh yes, and there are more footprints on this little balloon too. Perhaps the shoe was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If so, then judging from the number of footprints, it must have been thrown several times. Why would anyone be throwing shoes up at the ceiling though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid.
Take that!
Well, that was what we needed. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And in closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon? That seems somewhat familiar, Data. Ah! It was a piece of a green balloon's envelope that Mr. Nutho and Iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon, Mr. Master God's claims he saw about the stage when the incident occurred was a second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used on the day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. Hence why he resorted to a projectile, namely, the shoe. Ah! Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by assailing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine that balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside. You may recall that I found this in the room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? Mr. Sholmes has managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground? Which is much easier said than done, I feel. It could take a very long time as well. True, perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? Well, the crossbow.
Take that!
Crossbow! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this crossbow? That was found at the scene, in fact, and in all likelihood belongs to Mr. Drebber. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, he could have avoided losing his shoe at such a critical time as this. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside the balloon? Oh! Ah! What the? A waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So we can't see the face inside, that means. Just a moment. This is the head of a waxwork model? Does that mean... Oh my goodness! I see you joined the dots, Mr. Zato. Excellent. Ah, of course. A headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted Madame Tussville's model that you largely solved. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Tussville's will now have to settle with her sizable account with me. This, as you now have surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes. But why is he here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing the professor from Madame Tuspel's and returning it, sans tête, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrayne's case and the Waxwork abduction they're inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. The Waxwork had been entered into the court record. Head of the Professor Waxwork that was stolen from the Madame Tuspel special exhibit. Well, it appears a logical pleasure cruise has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite impossible they escaped by one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room. What? And this location should be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction, Enoch Drebber is right here, somewhere in this room. So, Mr. Nahodo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course. Mr. Drebber's hiding place must be the... Well, it's the safe, obviously.
Take that!
Before we gain access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe. And pressed for time, he made no attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process. From which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Drebber is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Solved, baby! Yeah, the deduction's complete. I wouldn't call it elementary, but Lord knows it was good. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1432582. I knew that. All right then, here goes. That sounded very nasty. I didn't mean to come off like that. You found me. What the heck? What the heck? Why are you moving like that, bro? Oh my god! Oh, I do not have time for you. Alright then, sir. Mr. Enoch Drebber, I presume? Correct. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Harebrayne with that bogus machine you built. And you shall have to explain the theft of waxwork from Madame Tuspel's as well. Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions. Oh my god. Personally, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? Your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in the most prominent position. Ah! Ha ha ha! I see. Stunned silence. You're all gearing up to die with me then? What the hell? No! Yeet it out the window! Mr. Schultz! With only 7 seconds to spare! Oh, it's too close for comfort. I've only got 1 foot in the grave already. Are you trying to help us get a killer or get us killed? Mr. Schultz's deductions can be completely life-alerting, can't they? Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Anti-gravity devices don't exist. Phew, I wouldn't push it, Mr. Sholmes. God bless! So what happened here? What on earth happened in here? You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems. Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going over, don't you worry, Drebber. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop. That I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt. Whistling? Ah, that would have been me. Oh! For some reason, I woke in a fine fettle today. No words, just tightly squeezed chips. Clearly I must have a screw loose though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember on which piece of furniture I'd written it down. We also found a rope over by the wall. Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So then I set about searching for the combination code to open the safe. And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget. Regrettably though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters. And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe? Having first set this parcel ticking. Well, I had no intention of being nailed by the police. Time bomb. Got a death wish, have ya? I'm right beside a ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suppose I chose to hide inside the safe? It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it. So in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Precisely. But once you climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked from within. Ah, so it is. I had always intended to blow this place to smithereens in any case. I just wasn't expecting uninvited guests to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you have planned to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. What do you mean? Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet. Ah, I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works. Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face, besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth? I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the 2 incidents you evidently been involved in recently? Professor Harebrayne's instantaneous kinesis experiment at the Great Exhibition. And the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to. That's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection. After all, that's enough! What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here. Yes, well... Dr. Scythe again. So the forensic investigation team are here. And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madam, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's the way to greet an old acquaintance, is it, Dr. Scythe? Hello, Sholmes. Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Scythe? If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you're quite misguided. It's really nothing more than a shell. You... Get out! But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mrs. Nuthulup? Yes? It would appear our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But Mr. Sholmes! Let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out! Now! All of you! Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Aww. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Something giving you a chuckle, has it? Drebber? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. Eh? What do you... That one? You mean... Everyone get out! It's not in the workshop. It's the one at the fair! Oh, no! Ah! It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that ripped through the experimentation stage at the Great Exhibition. Professor Harebrayne's invention and all its secrets were blown away forever.